So far, the crew has cleared every hurdle naysayers have placed in their way. Columbus would be home to one of the 10 inaugural teams. Columbus has outperformed much larger cities. The true success indicator has been from the fans.
Well, it's going night out. And don't you know we're gonna scream.
Hello and welcome to the club. I'm your host Mars, and this is the Upper 90 Club, a roundtable podcast where 5 friends discuss the Columbus Group. On this episode, we review last Saturday's defeat 2-1 against the team that answers the question: if an MLS team was a popped collar, Inter Miami. If we get the bird's eye, we get the bird's eye recount of the Crew 2's 3-2 victory over Inter Miami 2, led by former Columbus Crew icon Federico Higuain.
Eat it.
Whom is ironically ineligible for the Circle of Honor, of course, because he was born in Kenya. We have Chris DeVille in the house for another installment of The Shootout, our Crew trivia segment. And finally, we civilly discuss our predictions from last week. No game this weekend, so no predictions, but we're going to have a pretty hot episode dropping next week for the bye week. So with me in the club are Ben, Trey, Mort, and Haas. Say hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, so do you want to talk any more about next week, Ben, or do we want to keep it?
No, I bought hermit
surprise.
crabs today. That's like,
Okay.
I don't.
And we're going to saute them in garlic butter.
They already did. Yeah, there's no way.
All right. And then we're going to dip them in hot sauce, and we're going to eat them on air. So tune in. You guys were all at the game together, right?
Yes,
You sure were?
Yep.
VIP style. How was that? Tell me about it.
it was awesome.
Bumping shoulders with Dr. Pete.
Oh, yeah?
Did you say rubbing shoulders with Dr.
I
Pete?
said bumping.
Yeah, he was.
No, I think he said rubbing Dr.
Yeah.
He said it and promptly froze.
Really awkward.
He froze.
Yeah,
He's out of this podcast. It's just forever.
You can't just
It
talk
will
about
be the game.
rubbing shoulders and then go bye-bye.
He was looking. He was like looking for a job. You know, like, you guys hiring for masseuse?
It is definitely a different kind of game day experience for sure. It's nice.
Well, yeah. So you guys were like in a box, right?
Yeah, we were very lucky
Fortunately
to.
enough.
Yeah. Don't downplay it. I mean, just tell us what you did.
Oh, it was great.
You're being like all coy.
Yeah, it was like 50-50. I was talking to Trey about this today, and it was like, some of it was very cool. It was a very cool experience. I remember I was talking to the people in the Discord, and they were like, yeah, we kind of want to know what it's all about because we've never been up there. Because you remember in the old Crew Stadium, you could just like walk in a door and you're just like, I'm a box, you know?
Catch a door about to close.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like anybody.
Yeah.
But this is like, and I didn't even know where it was at because I've never been in that area. And there's like, elevators that go up to like a kind of a private area. So like, you go up, they, scan you in, they give you a stamp on your like hand that is only under a black light. It was,
Is it like Westworld? They like give you a gun and
yeah, everybody's robots, but like really sexy robots.
yeah. All right.
They do that.
Cool.
The stamp though, that makes it a little bit harder to let's say add a +1 into
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
which we did.
We're not trying to.
Yeah, we were totally didn't do that.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Don't did that at all. No.
No.
But yeah, I was walking around just taking photos like a tourist. Like I definitely did not belong. I was like, oh, check this out. I was like, look at the spread. I immediately ate all the wings, but we shared the box with another like company that I didn't know. And they came in later and they're like, oh, the wings are gone. I'm like, what happened? What happened? So like ate all that. But it was, I mean, that was fun. It was, it was very nice up there. I actually really appreciate what they did up there, but it definitely did not feel like a normal game. Like
Doesn't feel like
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're in the outside looking in a way.
The word I used earlier was just sterile.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's really nice. Like, it's wonderful. Everything is great. It
It's a
just
different atmosphere.
it's a different atmosphere. Yeah.
Beer is free though, which is
Beer is free. Food was free.
Extra wings. is
Actually,
free.
yeah. Come to
Extra
find
wings.
out. Yeah. Yeah, that's my
almost-
bad.
But no, it was really cool. I mean, they really did every area of that stadium well. It's just so cool. Like when you get to experience some of the different things in the stadium that you normally don't get to, and you realize it's like, man, there isn't a bad thing
Yeah.
about the stadium. They really didn't.
That's
do
what I
anything.
thought.
If
The
they
only
want to
complaint
create a
I've ever
VIP, VIP environment, it definitely
Oh,
is.
yeah.
It feels like a high-end hotel up there with like lounges and like a little plane exhibit by the NetJets suite and like all kinds
Yep.
of stuff. It's in a big, nice bar. It's a cool thing. The other thing they have figured out there is they actually put TVs in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it's always tough when you know
yeah,
you're like
that's-
it's this game you play. It's like if I go, they're gonna score, but I want them to score, but I have to go, and you have to do this calculus. This happened in Chicago when Haas and I went in Chicago. Cucho came in for his first game, and like yeah, and he was going number 2. I mean, I think he had a brace in his first
Yeah.
game.
You had a brace in the toilet. Toilet brace.
All right.
But you should sacrifice that more.
Yeah,
But it was good, but it
Have to,
wasn't
like-
loud. And you could hear like the Nordeck, and you could hear like both ends of the stadium. It was a very weird dynamic. But I kind of, when I was sitting there, Trey turned to me and he's like, I kind of wish we were like partying over with, at the end.
Well, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's I want to segue. So like, other than the 4 or 5 of you guys, and then those poor wingless souls that came in late. Let's jump into the game here and talk about what it was like for everyone else watching. You want to start with the lineups, Haas?
Yes, so we had a few changes. Cucho came in and started and played 90 minutes. Then in the midfield, Nagby was back in the center with Morris, and Yeboah started on the left wing instead of Sands. Otherwise, same starting core.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Sands there, and did you notice when we did the pre-game pictures and all, they had the whole Sands jersey. They were hanging up that, like showing that off and honoring him as a team, which I thought was very nice and classy.
Yeah.
I must have missed that.
Would have been nice to get him a win, but
You were eating wings. You were busy eating wings.
I'm okay with that. It's weird that they would like honor him as if he passed away, but
Yeah.
Well, I'm
No,
sure
it's
that
a season-ending injury.
Ellen, it was, I mean, pretty shocking and just like, I don't know, tragic.
Yeah, it's a
to
bummer. Well,
be so early in the season. And
was it
and
this
like,
week again where somebody got injured at Charlotte and it was their knee again on turf?
the guy, Barrero, New England, I think that was a home game for him. though.
Oh,
He had a season-ending injury on turf.
Oh man.
they played DC. I think
It was in New England, so it was on turf.
Oh, gotcha.
So, and that was last week. Yeah. It's just like, it just seems like, can we just stop playing on turf? Like again and again? Like,
Yeah. So what'd you think? First half, I think the biggest thing of note was Degenek injury in the 13th minute.
Well, so the injury actually, we believe, takes place in the 7th minute when Miami scores, and he. So Miami moves the ball around the midfield. Stefanelli plays a ball in from the left to the right towards the box over the top. I don't know. I can't pronounce these names. Kramashi first times it with a head into the path of Campana.
It's a nice header.
And he runs onto it, hits it first time on the ground, and Megs Schulte, which I didn't notice until watching the replay today. And as that's happening, Degenek slides in and tries to block it, and I think some of his follow-through makes contact with Degenek's leg or legs.
yeah, it's, that's kind of part and parcel of the issue with how we set up and how we play. Like anything quick on the counter, because we lost it right before that. I think you said it was his name Stefanelli. I think he won the ball on the left side, immediately plays a ball into the 18-year-old guy from Miami. He one times it to Camp, who's like coming in, and that he one times it So it's really quick. It happens in like 3 seconds, and they immediately, it's always that crossfield ball into the channels or up the side. We're just vulnerable. And I think, I thought maybe Viacia or Degenek turned off for a minute, but it happens so fast. They kind of do, but kind of don't. It's hard to recover when it's that quick. It was a good header in, but ultimately I think it was fair play to them. It's exactly what they should do playing against us, is that quick counter. I do think that Schulte should have done better because he didn't hit it. Campanella didn't hit it that hard.
No, but it's one of those.
I mean, it was short, but when I watched it again and I was like, I don't know. I mean,
I forgot that goal was so early, and I forgot the injury was related to the goal. I just can't believe that they scored so fast, and maybe it was related to us just getting, what was it? Were we caught getting warmed up, or was that part of it, or it's just like in transition?
Quick counter. It was quick. Like, I think that's something that we can get burnt on, especially when we try to possess the ball up. Except this time it wasn't. It was in a weird spot, and it was, like I said, it was like a good ball in. It was a good header, and it was a good one time. Like, all these were one time things, and it's just like,
it's a little bit of random combination of some good plays, and it was kind of chaotic before that. It was a lot of kind of hustling and people chasing the ball, and then they got like one ball to get to the left side, which opens up. He suddenly sees himself with like 10 yards of space, so he can hit that ball. It's a great ball, it's a great header, and it's a great finish. It's one of like 3 things that had to go well in a row, and that did it. So I feel like it's a little bit of a fluke. It was kind of the worst possible start, but I don't think there's anything in the setup to that was like, they didn't caught up on the counter, really. It wasn't really a play from the back and they outplayed us. It was just one of those where they had 3 good combinations of play in a row, and it ended up in the back of our net.
Yeah, and I knew that we scored again shortly thereafter, but I guess I must have been like asleep or, eating wings also.
Good.
Cucho scored. I almost said 8. Cucho ate the goal in the 10th minute.
Yeah. A goal full of wings. He hit the sauce.
Haas, go through that, because yes, seemingly this injury happened so late in the game because there was so much that happened before it, but go through the Cucho goal too.
So the crew play the ball down the left. There's a give and go with Yao and Zelarayan, and Yao gets down to the end line where he tries to drop it to Cucho. Miami gets to it and kind of a half clearance out to the left wing, right back to Zelarayan. He kind of sits on it a minute as Cucho is waiting inside the 18-yard box. He finds him. Cucho takes 2 quick touches.
As he does.
Kind of loops it in with his right foot to the far corner.
Yeah, 2 guys stepped to him. Like, that goal.
It looked like there was even a third in the general area, but none of them stepped quite quick enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Side net, right? I mean, it was up there.
Yeah, when we watched it, I was like, oh, that goalie kind of, probably should have done better. But before we got on here, we were looking at it again, and there's an angle behind the goal, and it like proves that was such a pretty shot. Like, it was not like, oh, goalie should have done better. It was, the goalie had no chance. Like, their goalie is awesome. But it
was moving too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it was
the ball.
It curved right in. I think it even glanced off the post a little bit, but it was
power and placement. I mean, there's absolutely no chance.
It's a proper Cucho goal.
Yeah.
So it was good to see Cucho back. It was a good goal. I do want to talk about Yao, because for the longest time I've been saying, like, he should not be on the field. I firmly believed. I was like, he's not a wing back. He's not a striker. Maybe they're going to give him time. He'll figure it out. I thought this game he played awesome. Like, a lot of the balls he played in, his hustle down the side, like, Yedlin is a good right back. A good MLS right back. And he got turned all game by Yao. I thought Yao just like took him to school. And I mean, when you look back at the stats, Yedlin was like the second lowest rated player. And like, he's a good player, but Yao beat him twice for that goal and brought the ball inside to start that. So when it went from Yao to Zell, like he beat him inside. It was awesome. And he did that all game, and he was putting like very pretty balls in across the 6. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else saw that, but I did. Normally I'm very critical of Yao, but
no, and I think we talked about during the game. I think the stats is not showing this. I think Haas have highlighted that for us. The fact that it didn't result in anything, and I think that's more of a problem with how we crashed the box, whatever it is, because I saw this already in the Open Cup game where he had some phenomenal crosses coming in. That was really impressive. He had some again, and this one he cuts it back 45 degree, he put people under pressure, gets into dangerous spaces, but nothing comes from it. But I think he's doing the part of it, his part.
Yeah, they credited him with 0 accurate crosses out of 7.
That's
and
insane.
Some of them, it just seemed like he wasn't getting his head up to find somebody, and he was just playing it into where he was hoping someone would be, which happens. It's fine. I don't think it's what Nancy wants.
How do you define an accurate cross?
Ask
a typical Yao non-accurate is him just blasting it out of bounds. I mean, it was a cross in the 18, so I don't know how it's...
Maybe if they connect with somebody...
Yes,
I don't know.
That's exactly what it means.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about the injury. Are we concerned about Degenig?
I haven't heard anything. Has anybody heard anything?
No, I was about to.
I haven't rewatched it, but I remember thinking
there was
it
really
was
nothing.
Like, maybe he just like
field.
kind of yeah.
But here's my thing: is if it was an injury and it was a worry, I think right now we mentioned this during the game that take him off, put in Quinton. I think Quinton is really good in that position, and bringing him in. Yeah, I know we're going to get to the corner later. But he's not really the reason why we're suffering as a team that he comes in. So I think even if it's not that serious, take him off and you almost put to me, almost a like for like.
Yep.
When it comes to the skill level.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll just be out a few weeks and we'll find out. It looked more like a muscle type injury versus something extremely serious. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think of the gameplay? We had a couple goals quick, had a personnel change. How did we look?
Here's my take. If I'm going to summarize it, is we have looked flat in 3 games in a row. We have possession, but it was some cases where you saw the defenders were actually standing on the ball. They were literally taking the ball. They were standing with it underneath their sole of the foot, kind of like, okay, I'm standing. And they walked and passed around and all that. We dominated play. I think I haven't looked at the possession stats. But
70%.
We owned that. Yeah, 70%. We owned that, but we kind of was a complete lack of urgency in a lot of things we do, a lack of like energy, and I think some of that is due to a player like Sands usually bring a lot of energy like that. Farsi was a little bit off the game. He's another player that brings a lot of energy as well. And I think they also purposely closed that out. They purposely closed out the channels as much as they could. But yeah, I think I'm again disappointed with the energy, the kind of the explosiveness of our play. It's very pedestrian in many cases, and that's also why we have a lot of shots from outside the box.
Do you think this team's playing down to the level of the competition?
That's a typical Crew thing. Crew does that all the time.
And I hate to generalize it to that point, but you go back and look at the games, and the big games we're up for, and these other games, Charlotte, Red Bull, Toronto, like it just, I don't know. I didn't really have a good answer. I mean, I even went back and rewatched this entire game. And just didn't really have an answer. I mean, there were times where we looked extremely good and times where they just took it to us on the counter. We seemed to control it, but I don't know. It was just lackluster.
What was the final possession ratio?
70-30.
Yeah. 70-30. I mean, I saw it at, I think it was 29th minute, or I jotted it down. It was 75% to 25%. And I was just
that's crazy,
blown away because at that point, it almost is reminiscent of like when you're playing a team with a man down, right? Where they're just kind of like,
Right.
they're just parked waiting to exploit, you know,
which
transition.
is exactly what Miami did in the second half. I mean,
Right.
the last 40 minutes of this game, they were just sitting 9 men back.
Yeah, so go back a couple of days before that. We're playing Indy 11. Indy 11 gave us everything. They packed it in. And we said this even after the Charlotte game was, I thought we needed maybe a Cucho that can take advantage of some of the small spaces that was given us. Because they also let up a lot of possession to us and let us just have it. And then we couldn't really break them down. Same we saw it in the 11. The same we saw now. It's almost like people are like, okay, you know what, against the Crew, we can kind of pack it in, take some opportunity on the counters, and maybe get a goal. And then if we pack it in, they have a hard time breaking us down because they want to get the wingers going. They want to have like the flow, the free flow of the play. But when they get stuck, we don't really have we don't have a set pattern, because I know his part of his philosophy is the free play and kind of that show the emotional player. Everybody's going to have some structure, but they're going to, within the structure, have freedom to do stuff. And maybe that's what causes us to get stuck a little bit. I don't know.
I think specifically for this game, we were missing a number 9 that stretches the back line. Cucho constantly was further back than even Aiden Morris. He was picking up the ball and Zelli was picking up the ball way further back. But that's the thing that Cucho does. Like, he does stretch the line, but he also, it's also a testament to, we had 22 shots. That's great. That's a ridiculous amount of shots. We had 1 XG, 1.06. It's like, okay. And 12 of those shots were outside the box. Like, 8 of those shots were right on the 18. We didn't really trouble the goalie. We had some good opportunities, but breaking it down and getting pressure in the 6th, there just was nobody. That's what Ramirez does. And when you sub in, we have Matan comes in, or Matan goes off and we bring in JRR. That's fine. But also JRR isn't a back stretching number 9. He also comes back and he distributes the ball. Same. So it's just like 3 guys running around right at the top of the final third, but no one is really pressing and stretching and creating space. So like, that's great that, it's crazy that they had a guy who scored 2 goals, but the player of the match based on ratings was Zelli, and he didn't even score because he had so many touches and so many passes, but all of those were like midfield, which is exactly what Miami was trying to do, and it totally worked. It's what Indy 11 did. Totally worked.
And to that point, we didn't bring Christian Ramirez until the 85th minute, and I think we're kind of getting back to that probably.
And maybe not, but my worry, even when I said it 2 weeks ago, I said, hey, when Cucho's back, I mean, you put him in as a number 9, but I prefer him and Zelli to be running around underneath Ramirez and having Ramirez all the way up. Because that gives you that triangle that you want, because he normally plays for Columbia out on the left side. So maybe that's, we just need it. I feel like we needed a proper 9 to kind of stretch that back line and create havoc. And really, we just possessed the ball for 70% of the game around midfield.
The ball has to cross the goal line.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter how well you do, up to the 18-yard box, right? If you can't make it.
Yeah. And I will say it's a lot different than last year where we had 65% possession, but we only had 10 shots on goal. It felt, it does feel different. And we're going to get into that. But it does feel different.
Yeah, it did feel different.
This was the issue we had last year, not scoring goals, having a bunch of possession. What's the point? But this still feels different.
At half, we only had 6 shots with 3 on target.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we really laid it on in the second half, or tried to.
Yeah, and we can quickly go over that second goal right before, I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Haas. Then we'll take a break.
Well, so just before that second goal, Schulte makes an amazing double save. Don't have a good description of the whole thing, but he dives all out to the left, saves it, gets up quick enough to make a kick save that forces a corner. Then there's another corner that goes out for another corner from the opposite side. Still in the 41st minute, corner from the left side. Quentin gives Campana too much space, and he and Schulte are unable to beat him to the ball, and he heads it near post.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of emotions. It was like, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it kind of just looked. I believe you, and I only watched the game the one time. My takeaway was, Schulte kind of came out and just he didn't connect, and then there was nobody defending, and so if it was Quentin who let Campana get the clear shot, that was the ultimate result.
Just gave him a little too much space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate.
I mean, you can't lose an aerial duel like that when your players are 6'5" and 6'6".
Yeah, that was kind of my thought when Haas was talking through that. It's like you got the guy who can punch it, and the guy who is who can head it from basically anywhere on the field. Quentin looks almost cartoonishly tall when he's out there. How did we not connect with that ball?
Yeah, you hate to use the phrase "you got to do better."
Yeah,
but yeah.
All right, so maybe
Again, I will go back. I want to go back to the fact that again, this is a great ball because it hits just ahead, a little bit ahead of the near post, and normally that's an area you kind of want to. You have to kind of head it backwards or whatever. It hits him straight on the head. If it goes 1 foot either way, I don't think he's ever going to get to that ball. It's the only place he can get to the ball and get the head to it. And it hits it right before Schulte should probably not go. But if he stays, I don't think he saves it.
Yeah.
And Quentin is in a position where he will always be second to that because he's actually kind of going towards the ball. And it turns around and kind of do the header into the goal. So I think it's two inexperienced players that involved in that goal. But at the same time, I think it's one of those they kind of hit gold on both of their goals.
And how? Okay, and so then, excuse me, at a macro level, then how does this happen? Did Miami field a different team than the one who was sitting on 5 consecutive losses? We're at home. Full house.
No goals since March 29th, I think.
How did this happen? There's no answer. I'm not expecting you to answer. I think we should break for halftime, but it's mind-boggling. I don't know. Okay. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back and talk through the scoreless second half. We'll be right, Trap.
This episode of the Upper 90 Club is brought to you, as always, by Supporter Supply Company. Hi, friends, this is your good pal Morgan Hughes, here to talk to you about a serious issue facing 96% of all crew supporters in Columbus. Why, not enough free shipping, of course. For a limited time now, through the eventual heat death of the universe, Upper 90 Club listeners can use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z on the end of it, at checkout for free delivery on absolutely any order over $10. But Morgan, what if I order $10 worth of stickers, or those goddamned buttons, or some other combination of small items that make you want to kill yourself? Will the free shipping still apply then, even as you curse our family, while you package up our little tiny annoying ass order for us? Of course it will. That's just how much we here at Supporter Supply value our friends at the Upper 90 Club. So head on over to supportersupply.co and use the promo code Upper90Boys. That's boys with a Z at checkout for free shipping on all your orders over $10. And don't forget to tell them that your friends at the Upper 90 Club sent ya.
And we're back. So at the half, we saw Matan leave. JRR subbed in for him. What happened? Do you guys know what happened was he injured?
Yeah, it looked like he took a strong tackle at the end of the half. A guy came through the back of him. I believe what we were talking about was a muscular injury, but was still to be determined.
Okay.
So kind of like Deganek, we fingers crossed that everything's checks out.
Okay. Typically, they don't announce updates on injury until Tuesday, Wednesday during the week, and we're recording on Monday night. So,
okay. And then, insult to injury, 69th minute, Morera left.
Nice.
All right. I'm just, hold on.
You sound almost too happy about that.
No.
Try to do, but it
Better be careful. That was a yellow card for the listeners. Okay, so
say the number again. I'm gonna.
Well, I'm like,
Just say it.
I saw Morera at
limping
one
after the
point
match.
Yeah.
during a corner kick. He was holding his hamstring.
We don't know what time it was though.
And then, he subbed out, and he was seen limping after the game as well. So, pretty significantly.
So, what's going on, guys? I mean, the team's falling apart.
No, I don't think.
Are we gonna be okay?
Yeah, we just got Kucha back. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be a part of the season to get some injuries. We don't know how bad some of them are. There are always going to be a couple out for the longer scope of time, so to speak. But
I feel like I'm like losing track of everyone who's injured.
No, but I think why we're feeling it is kind of a representative of the lack of depth we have. So we feel like, okay, if we have a couple of injuries, who's next man up? And we look and it's like, who's that guy?
Yeah, if you're signing new players as your players are getting injured, you have a depth problem. 100%.
I don't know. We got Zawadzki, we have Parente, both for the middle, Arfston up top. I don't feel like the depth is that bad. We also have a bunch of other injuries. So, yes, a little bit depth issue, but...
Yeah, Diaz, Molino, Williams, Ilaroom.
But we've got plenty of people to fill in the middle. I mean, Zawadzki was playing defense there when he came in. Right center back, I don't know. I don't think it's bad yet, but if we have more injuries, any more injuries, it's going to be troublesome.
The only thing I think is an issue is the fact that we put in a lot of kind of striker kind of players. We put in Christian Ramirez at the end. We put in Russell Rowe in there. It's kind of like too many cooks, and we don't have nobody to like break it down and being wild card. We don't have a Diaz coming down the right wing and striking the ball in and beating somebody, right? So I felt like at a point...
Did we have that before? Quick question.
Yeah,
we had Diaz. We had Diaz.
I'm talking about Diaz.
Etienne starting and things like
Was he really bringing putting the balls in?
I mean, it's kind of a similar situation.
Luis
Yao,
Luis.
Yeah, but at least there's a wild card. You feel like, hey, they could be the day. Like now it's kind of like, who are we bringing on? We're bringing in more of the number 9 kind of a player. And I feel like in the end, if you look at what we ended up playing with at the end,
3 strikers.
It's almost like we're standing in we're in each other's way.
Well, yeah.
To
Ben's point, nobody's taken it the last 18 yards either.
Yeah,
right.
I feel like Nancy has a really good front 3 situation because we have JRR who plays different than everybody else on the field. We have Ramirez who plays completely different. He basically has like this Swiss Army knife up top where everybody plays a different way, and he just needs to figure out all right, I'm going to start these 3 people. And if they're doing this, then I can make these changes to break that down. So if they're playing a deep,
did you ever have one of those Swiss Army knives that was like a 75 tool Swiss Army?
I have
knife?
one. They're called Leatherman.
And the stupid things,
but the one you had when you were
only
like
used
a
2
Cub
of them.
Scout.
Is that what you're getting to?
No. My point is that at some point in time, the thing gets so gunked up and you can't get any of it open properly. And when you get it open, nothing goes back the right way. Oh, is it kind of like things are breaking down and getting hurt?
Oh,
on the
literally,
field?
Haas has it right
and
now.
then nothing jams up.
Well, I think instead of just throwing people in there, it should just be all right, when Ramirez is in, we switch to he's up top stretching, and then the 2 people underneath him are moving. If JRR comes in, then I think it's very important to figure out what everybody's good at and how it plays out.
Well, right. You're saying the same thing. Tracy is pointing out the fact that you can't have a field full of generalists, that we need some specialists. You need a scalpel.
And I
right?
a scalpel? I don't want to downplay. We don't know what Nancy is doing. We are not privy to his tactics. We can watch and we can see the effects of what happened after he told the person on the field do such and such and yada yada yada. But I really think he's doing those things, but we're not executing it.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, there's talent on the field. So it just is, they're getting in each other's way. Like, I forget if it was Ben or Mort that said it, but.
Okay, so Ben, I know you wanted to talk about this, but we're 10 games in. How do you guys think we are faring? I mean, these feel kind of down right now. We were singing a different tune a few weeks ago. We were probably between the two toward the beginning of the season. Is this where you expected us to be? Should we be doing better? Should we be doing worse? Season on the whole so far. What do you think? And which players do you think have been able to benefit or thrive in the Nancy system, and who hasn't? You want to start, Ben?
I just wanted to note real quick: 6th place, 14 points, 4 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's like the definition of mid-table.
Yeah,
right.
And I think
it's definition of playoffs.
Sure, there's still a lot of soccer to play, but I think a good 10-game stretch. We have a week off. It's good to kind of reevaluate where we're at. At the beginning of the season, the thing is, and shout out to Travis from the Discord. We interviewed him back on the Discord episode. He made a good point. He's like, yeah, probably this is absolutely where we should expect to be at best, with a new coach, a new system, 0 signings pretty much, and then trying to play the youth. Like, this is probably the best we can, but it feels like we should be doing better. Like, I had way higher hopes, especially at the beginning, but I think we should temper. I think in reality, this is probably completely fine. And again, having the week off helps. As far as the players go, I think Schulte and I actually think Quinton, those are the 2 I was most impressed with, as far as he brought in the youth, he's playing them, and they're playing at the highest level in the United States, and they're playing well. Like, I think Schulte is playing very well. He is a sweeper keeper. We also didn't talk about in this game how he turned that guy. Like, he came out and did a step over, no big deal, and played the ball out. And I was like,
nice. He did a Cruyff.
Yeah.
He did a Cruyff.
He did a Johan. Yeah. So like, and I think it's interesting that we got rid of a lot of people that didn't fit necessarily in the system. I don't think Etienne fit in the system. He's not a striker. He's not a wing back. And we could move past me as soon as I say this, but like, I think Diaz doesn't fit the system. He's not a striker. He's not a wing back. He's not going to get back. And unfortunately, I think he's done.
All right. We got his answer. Let's move on. Mort.
Well, first of all, I would say last year our average point per game was like 1.35, and now we won 4. So we were better than the average last year with a new coach. And we have to remember, last year we started on a high when our trajectory was like we kept moving down. And I'd rather be on a slope where we're learning, we're growing. I could mention 2 players. I'm only going to mention one on the white side, and I'm going to go with the Farsi. And the kind of energy he brings. He's a little bit of a Van Bissaka almost, that being a United fan. He's brings a lot of, he's a little unorthodox, not like the tidiest player all the time, but he brings a lot of energy. He's been probably, I want to say a couple other names now. I want to pull up Ben and just mention like 2 others.
I know, man. Your brain starts going. You're like, I just want to talk. I have a good time.
Trey, what about you?
Positive wise, I really think Schulte stepping up, playing as well as he has, but really Matan has been we're talking the first game of the season that I literally saw him in the lineup and went, whoa.
Yeah, good call.
Team?
Yeah.
So the way he's come back in, asserted himself into a starting role, and he's playing really well. I mean, he really is a player that when he's not in the game, it does make a difference. It changes how we play. Negative. I'm going to hate on an injured player and say Eloy Room. I mean, before the injury, I really didn't think he was playing well. he hasn't been in good form.
Mm-hmm.
But
highest paid goalkeeper.
I mean,
or second highest, probably.
Yeah,
next to
you would expect expect more from. Yeah.
Yeah, and Hoss, before you go, I was thinking about the negatives. It's probably kind of what Ben said here. Signings.
Yeah.
Just a lack of signings, and I still really hope it is because we have something big on for summer, and we try to do the summer window.
That's what they've been hinting at.
But
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Hoss, let's go.
Tracy took both of mine, but I question whether Room will ever play for the Crew again without an injury causing it, just because he doesn't play the type of play that Nancy wants, the sweeper keeper. But I don't know. I think the ones left are pretty obvious, and I'm going to go with Aiden Morris. I mean, just continuing to impress and be solid in the midfield. He's had a few games where he's scoring. He's just a joy to watch. Very entertaining.
Yeah.
He's into it. He brings the energy. I think him and Cucho, with the energy Cucho brings to the field, it's going to continue to be fun to watch if we can keep some guys healthy.
Mars?
Oh, you want me to weigh in? I think that, you say Bulldogs in the midfield. I mean, I kind of think of Matan came to mind for me, and not only for himself, but I think that he elevates that whole frontal unit, right? And when he's on, I think of like, Double Dragons, right? Where it's almost this like symmetrical attacking beast
Bad boys
between like, and I like your idea of having like, just throw more nines up there, like we just have like just get
two more nines and one more goalie.
It's just it's like
two goalies and 3 nines on
Nagbe, Morris, Matan, Zelarayan, and like 6 or 7 nines up in front of them, and and then have Schulte at midfield, and we'll be good. Just put Eloy Room on like a lounge chair back in the goal, and it would be all the same. So Matan was my pick, I think, for positives. So I'm just gonna abstain from negative. I don't feel that strong. I mean, I could pile on the Room thing. It's like I haven't really missed him,
Bear prices.
I know you guys always talk about Diaz. I don't really feel that strongly. So I'll double up with Trey and say Matan and Room are my plus and minus for 10 games in. Okay, so I think we're good. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll do the President Bird update on Crew 2, Miami 2.
Exciting game. Got to watch it.
Higuain was at the game. They
the first team
got
game.
applause too when he was on the
they
screen.
cut to him. I didn't know if y'all saw that at the game. And then so let's cut over to that. Then after that, we'll do the shootout with Chris. So we'll be right back.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back. What a win by the Cappies, huh? For 70 or so minutes, it looked like we were in for a replay of the first team's performance on the day before. The Cappies were far and away the better team, but they simply could not get the ball in the net, even though they were passing it around Miami's 2 boxes the entire game. The guys were dominating every aspect of the game. Zengi showed the speed that makes him a special center back prospect. Roberts was creating chances left and right and earning his number 10 shirt. And Lapkes was again playing well with his hands and incredibly well with his feet. The kid has moves. Nevertheless, we had 2 defensive lapses and Miami took advantage of them. Sounds familiar? Well, things changed in the 7-second minute. Right after Miami scored their second goal at the 69th minute, Laurent Courtois made 4 subs at once. Fresh out of the bench, Academy standout, cold worker ant Moroka hit a banger from the top of the box after the Cappies' pressure led to a turnover. A few minutes later, another sub, Matteo Bunbury, scored an outrageous flying kick that got called back from offsides. It was a contender for goal of the year, had it counted, and I urge anyone who can to go check it out in the Cappy Bravo Twitter. We tied a few minutes after that. The Cappies kept some relentless pressure on top of the Miami box, and Bunbury found Fuson inside the box. Fuson kept calm in tight spaces and sent the ball into the net. It was a very deserving goal for him, who was everywhere on the field. He played as striker, right wing back, and left wing back over the 90 minutes. He's a very versatile player and someone to keep an eye on for first team reps. The winning goal came from a corner perfectly taken by Gannon, headed into the goal by Bunbury, who deserves his goal as well. It took 16 minutes for the subs to help us get us from a 2-0 deficit to a well-deserving 3-2 win. And while those guys really changed the game, Coleman Gannon was, in my opinion, the clear man of the match. He ended the game with 2 assists, several chances created, and his consistent pressure and speed led to many turnovers on our behalf. He was a true calamity for Miami to deal with in the midfield. I think that the difference between the Cappies and the first team this weekend was how quickly the Crew 2 went from getting the ball into the attacking turn after the subs came in to trying to get into frame, and also the ability to capitalize from set pieces. Maybe the Crew 2 is holding some of the keys to unlocking the scorer potential for the first team. After all, they play very similar formations and face the same kinds of defensive challenges that the first team do. Well, again, thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to help. Go Cappies, go Crew.
And we're back. With us in the club is Chris DeVille from Stereo Gum, our resident
Chris,
officiant of the Shootout with Chris DeVille. This is our third installment, a trivia game where Chris will read us 5 questions that he's drummed up with his team of questionnaires, I don't know, whatever. And
not touching that.
Anyway, so we're gonna get into it here. There'll all be multiple choice, right, Chris?
That's right.
Okay.
All multiple choice this time.
Okay.
can we have some hard ones this time? Because it's been so easy.
We have crashed and burned at every opportunity in the first 2 installments. So I will hand it over now. Chris, welcome back to the club.
Hey guys, thanks. Excited to be here again. Okay, I think there are some answerable questions this time. We will see.
All right. I know how to answer. I just can't answer it right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to start out with a very current question. So Columbus actually leads MLS in team-wide assists right now with 19. Who is the current club assists leader on the Crew? Your choices are A, Alex Matan, B, Steven Moreira, C, Lucas El Rayon, and D, Cucho.
So that's assist leader for this
in
season.
The 2023 season.
Okay.
Thus far.
And does that include any non-league play?
I believe that it is the stats on the team site are strictly MLS.
Okay. Let's see the answers. Hold them up. We've got a bunch of C's. Everyone says C.
I did mine backwards.
You're all wrong. It's Matan.
What?
Who came to my mind first?
He has 4
I
assists.
just praised him as like he's playing awesome, and it's like screw him.
How
many does he have?
Everybody answered Lucas.
Yeah.
That's what I would have guessed too.
Okay, good start, guys.
All right.
I was like 50-50 on that one. And I
thought the most recent assist pushed him over.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, anyway, our second question is, who was the first designated player for the Columbus Crew? Was it A, Chad Marshall, B, Scalotto, C, Federico Higuain, or D, Andres Mendoza?
Mendoza.
Designated player, of course, being a player who was allowed to go above the salary cap.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those.
All right. So who's the first? Who's Crew's first DP?
I feel like it's obvious, but it's not, and I hate that.
Just
hold on.
Are you ready to hold him up, or can I? I just would say that we used to call Mendoza "Man Doze Off" because he seemed to just like sleep up at the front of the 18-yard box, like just waiting for the ball to be fed to him, and it just didn't come together for him. All right, hold him up, Matt. Okay.
The answer is Scalotto.
All right.
Dang it.
So Mort
is the only one who's right.
That's
Chad Marshall actually wasn't a designated player, but I had to get some.
Has there always
before?
When did the
not homegrown, but
DP
a
thing
draft pick.
come into fruition? Like when did
around that time. It was like around 08.
David
Yeah.
Beckman.
I lost my head.
They created it for David Beckham.
Okay, that's what I was trying to think in my head. I'm like, when was that? And I was like, I don't think
07 or 08,
Soletto was.
I thought it was too obvious.
Okay.
Sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer. Okay. Now, the next question, speaking of Beckham, is inspired by Inter Miami, this past week's opponent.
Yes.
So, as we know, Inter Miami is partially owned by David Beckham. However, there are several teams in MLS who are partially owned by currently active pro athletes. They include an athlete who is still competing for a pro team amongst their ownership group. I'm going to list off 4 teams, and you got to tell me which one is not partially owned by a currently active pro athlete.
Okay.
Sorry if this ventures outside of the crew purview.
I love this question. This is a great question.
It's good.
Okay. So your choices are.
Now, are they playing? Are they playing for the team that they own?
No. That's. I don't think that's allowed.
they're just
That's a
active
Michael Jordan
athletes.
thing.
None of these. No. None of these are soccer players.
Right.
They are all currently pro athletes within.
Will Ferrell.
They're still playing soccer. They're not playing soccer. They're still
Kicking
playing
and
their
screaming.
sport, but it's not soccer.
They're still playing their sport.
Right.
Got
So
it.
here are your choices: A, Nashville; B, Houston; C, Seattle; and D, Vancouver.
And this is not.
Which one of those is not owned by a currently active pro athlete?
Oh man, what a great question.
Are you guys ready?
I am.
Hold them up. Because who would invest in Houston? Oh, no. Haas agrees with me.
What's going on? The answer is Vancouver.
Oh,
D.
really?
Yes.
Oh, damn it. I just write them all up and I eliminated.
Who invested in
I
Houston?
see. James
J.J.
Harden.
Watt.
Makes
James
sense.
Harden.
Yeah, but Houston is like,
Former Houston
yeah,
Rocket.
but that's like $7. You know what I mean?
Well, no,
that's what
so I had a
thought. I was
question
like,
about this. I texted these guys about Nashville the other day because like I felt like the universe was folding in on itself because the Haslams bought Milwaukee and then Giannis bought into Nashville and like what does that mean? I don't know. There's something.
Well,
there.
yeah, give me the list of like who
Yeah.
owns what. Like who owns Seattle? I didn't.
Seattle has
Drew
so
Carey.
many owners.
Well, that was the Microsoft. I thought it was the Microsoft guy.
But
I thought
it's
he
Paul
also-
Allen.
People that
Yeah,
have
Paul
bought
Allen.
it.
I thought he.
the-
Yeah.
It's not.
See how I
it's not
spelled Seattle?
full-on owned.
That's doesn't look like
Seedy.
Seattle at all.
You spelled it C.
Okay, so
I
So
I've read it really
Seattle-
fast.
Seattle has so many partial owners. Drew Carey's in there. He's not obviously an athlete, but the
Matt.
currently active athlete is Russell Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they also have Ken Griffey Jr.
He's still
a-
playing,
Cool.
right?
No.
Junior?
Rec softball.
I feel like I looked
No,
this
but
up last
Junior's-
week.
No,
second,
Junior's
but he's
joints
playing.
exploded like 10 years ago.
Still playing.
15.
Yeah.
I still play it on Super
Okay, good
Nintendo.
question. Good question. How many questions was that? And has anyone been
That's
keeping
3
score?
questions.
I was supposed to be
I
keeping
feel the
score.
need to.
I've missed everyone.
I've got one.
I've missed everyone.
I got one.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. So me and Mort.
All right.
Okay, wait. Nashville also, in addition to Giannis, Derrick Henry is
Oh.
one of the owners.
Oh.
And Vancouver was
King
supposed to be a
Henry.
trick question because Steve Nash is one of the owners, but he's not. He's retired, so he didn't.
Tottenham fan though.
I was wondering what other fan.
I assumed because
What other
Vancouver is
Canadians
such
would be involved.
like a movie city because of the tax.
Yeah, but
thing.
it's a very specific.
Yeah,
of course, they have
athletes,
like
okay,
owners. It's active, current active athletes.
I get
very specific.
actors and athletes
confused
like
all
they're
the time.
Yeah,
like because of the movie Space Jam, or
yeah, there's so much crossover. Like The Notebook with Dwayne Wade. Listen, I don't know. How to
Okay, all right. What question are we on? 4 or 5?
Okay, we're on question number 4.
Okay, all right.
Not counting interim coaches, how many head coaches have the Crew had in their existence? Choices are A7, B8, C9, D10.
So for the listeners, and then we'll hold them up, Mort is writing all of the letters and all of the answers on a page and then crossing out the ones that he is not
He's
answering.
putting them in an Excel spreadsheet.
This got me through college, guys.
This got you through college?
All right, let's
hold them up.
You ready? You ready?
The answer is B. It's 8.
Ben said D.
I said C.
Oz said C.
In interim coach Brian Bliss, it would go up to 9, but I said no.
I had 7, and I felt like I was forgetting one. So
all right, so Mort and Trey got it. So they each have 2 points. Haz and Ben are out of contention, so you guys can just sit back and enjoy this question.
Wait, is there no season-long scoring, or is it's just
season?
Yeah, we'll go back and reconcile that. We'll go back.
No, there's season-long.
So bad.
All right, so they should still participate.
Yeah, I was
last
joking.
Question.
I was joking.
That's a great joke.
I'm pretty sure these are.
Great joke.
It's a pretty great. It's easy to keep my score. I think these are my 2 first points.
Yeah.
All right, congratulations.
Okay.
All right.
All right, lay it on
All
us.
right. Also inspired by Inter Miami, how many MLS franchises have been based in Florida? Your potential answers are A2, B3, C4, and D5.
How many potential or actual?
How many actual MLS franchises have been based in Florida throughout the history of the league?
All right, hold them up. Ort says 3. Ben says 3. Trey says 3. Haz says 4.
The answer is 4.
Wow.
What? Which is the fourth? I know Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay,
the Mutiny.
right?
Tampa Bay Mutiny.
What was it?
Miami Fusion.
Oh, the Fusion. They had 2.
Orlando.
What a tricky
And
question.
now Inter Miami.
When was the Fusion? I don't remember the Fusion.
It was where
like
the
98 to 2001
Yeah.
or
So it wasn't
something.
like
It was
96.
So this round,
They
no.
came in at the same time as the Fire, and then they were like, they went kaput so fast.
Man,
Yeah.
I don't remember the Fusion at all.
Boo.
I remember Tampa Bay because they had Valderrama.
yeah, let's do a quick rundown here, and then we'll let Chris go. So, Ben, you got how many? How many did you get right, Ben? 0.
Yep, 0.
Goose egg for Ben. Trey got 2 tonight. Mort got 2 tonight, and Haz got 1.
One and only.
Are you not playing, Mars? I feel like you should be playing.
No, I'm just kind of hanging.
Co-host.
Yeah. So Chris, before we go, we do need to know what you're promoting now and where we can find you.
Oh man, what am I promoting? The most recent thing I wrote was a review of The National, their new album.
Okay.
First 2 pages of Frankenstein, where I grappled with The National have always been writing. So much of their best music is about being washed. So how can you tell if they're actually washed?
Right.
If their music is about being
Cincinnati
washed?
group, right? They're from Cincinnati.
And what if I'm washed? Because I kind of still like the album, even though it was boring when I first listened to it.
It's
I don't
National.
know. It's. I think it's good writing. I think I balled out on that one.
Okay. And we can find that at Stereogum, right?
Find that at stereogum.com. And later this week, I'm going to have a Deer Hunter retrospective also. And I think that'll be sick, but I haven't written it yet, so I can't say for sure.
All right, and then we can find you at is your check mark still blue, or like are you?
No, I lost my blue check mark.
So since our last
but
installment,
I am still at Chris DeVille on Twitter, and I am on Blue Sky.
I don't know what
Got
that
an
is.
invite to Blue Sky Social.
But
Okay.
should I be on Blue Sky? Quick question.
Is that like
It's new,
is that like a
it's
Truth
the new,
Social?
It's exactly like Twitter,
Oh.
except it's not owned by Elon Musk.
Oh, okay.
And you have to get it. You have to get an invite. It's invite only beta right now.
Okay.
But
Do we know a guy?
the goal is to just like in the same way that Elon wants to like kind of port over Earth life over to Mars. We are just, trying to port over the entire Twitter experience over to Blue Sky, sans Musk. So
Wow.
We'll see how that works out. But
invite us.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you do
or
that?
don't.
Yeah. You invite us to Blue Sky. I'll invite you to Truth. Or is that the other one?
Is this based on Mr. Blue Sky?
Yeah, ELO. No.
I don't think it's based on Mr. Blue Sky. Great song.
I went
though.
Wilco.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna peace out
Yes.
and
Yes.
hopefully go finish my episode of Succession. Please enjoy the rest of your podcast.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris.
And we're back. Another thanks to Chris
Thanks,
DeVille
Chris.
and President Bird for your contributions this week. Next game for the crew is against Loudoun United FC.
Dun, dun, dun.
SC Inter from Leesburg, Virginia.
Is that a fancy way of saying London?
Loudoun.
No, it's not spelled the same.
Loudoun.
There's London, Ohio that's spelled the
No,
same.
I know it's not.
What is? Does anyone know what Loudoun is? Is that like a? What is that?
I don't
Not
know.
quite.
Probably
No.
county.
Okay, well they're in Virginia, and we're going to play them on May 10th in the round of 32. So there are only 32 teams as good as we are in the U.S. Open Cup. Sorry to say, Indy 11 didn't make the cut. Okay, so I said at the top of the show we were not going to do predictions for our next game, but I was wrong. I was informed during this last break that is not accurate. So we're going to first review our predictions from last week, and then we'll just do a quick roundup for our game on May 13th against Orlando, one of the four historic MLS franchises in Florida.
Yes.
Okay, so Mort, you have the scorecard on the predictions. Do you want to run through the standings and the predictions from last week?
You know, it's score time when I put my glasses on. In case you all forgot, we did lose this game 2-1.
Yes.
At home against Miami. And as usual, we don't believe in losses. Haas has us winning 2-0. Trey, I took Haas's number of 3 and said 3-0. Ben had us winning 1-0. I had us 2-1. So I still had a hope for a little while. And then Mars, you thought 2-0. So not very good. And right now we're right at 50% accuracy for the season. We believe that they've proved going to have 28 points by now, and they have.
Hey, Crew's 50%. So,
and when it comes to the rankings or the standings, I should call it, is still Ben and Mars ahead with 4 points, and I am trailing with 2 points, and Haas and Trey right in the middle with 3.
Okay, and yeah, so no one got a point. So it's the same as last week. Yeah.
Yes, we're useless.
Okay,
that's
very
that's
good.
Really what
very good. I think that's a good summary. All right. So do you guys want to talk about the game against Orlando here in a couple weeks? What kind of form are they in, Haas?
They are currently sitting in 8th place, 9 games played, so they've had their bye week. 4 wins, 3 losses, 2 ties of note, 2 wins at home, 3 losses at home, a draw. Away, 2 wins, 0 losses, and a draw.
Interesting. And we're at the LDC, yeah? On the 13th?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
We sure are.
Okay. Is there a special theme night?
I don't know.
Is that too much of a curveball? Okay. Well, we can make it silly hats game.
Too far ahead to know.
Wear your silly hats. All right.
It's my everyday.
All right. Well, let's go around. Let's hear your predictions, Ben.
I didn't realize they haven't lost away from home. That's insane. That's a crazy stat, especially for MLS, which is like home heavy.
Yeah.
2 weeks off.
They're due.
They got some good players. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 1-1 draw.
Okay. Mort.
So that's interesting that you said 1-1 draw.
Yeah, everyone is now afraid of guessing a win. This is I called
it's all reactionary.
This earlier. I was like, oh, everyone's gonna say yeah.
So we are all extremely reactionary. And I actually put my score on here before we even started. I gonna
do tell.
No, screw. No. I was gonna say 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear being reactionary. I said, you know what, we're due. There's a score that somebody else likes to put on here, at least one part of it, and it's 3-1. 3-1 Crew. We're gonna do it. We're coming back strong.
Ooh, that's brave.
We're gonna make it happen.
We are kind of
Trey.
I kind of agree with that.
Ooh, I'm going with the Jersey pick. 1-0.
Juano.
The Jersey pick.
Picks Juano. Juan to know Juan.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Oz?
I was also thinking Mark's favorite scoreline. 1-0. Crew.
What a day that'll
1-0
be.
Crew.
Yep.
All right. I will.
If only we would win.
If only there was somebody
If only.
saying that we would never, ever, ever win the game.
I said that.
1-0.
I maintain that.
If only it didn't already happen.
Well,
I think I also want to butt in here. I think if we literally don't win 1-0, the rest of us have to buy a jersey. Like, 'cause that's
in an MLS
insane
regular
stat.
season match.
Correct.
Well,
is that the clarification?
Well, I'm not. I mean, I know you're trying to like. I assume you're talking about the Indy 11 game.
Have we not talked about that?
That's the only 1-0.
No, we haven't talked about it yet.
Yes, we have not.
Hold on, let me make my prediction for this game, then we can talk about the Indy 11 game. Okay. I'm with Mort. Like, I think I was thinking earlier today that if we were to put all this into a spreadsheet, like you would see some kind of
Mort loves spreadsheets.
lagging.
Damn right I do.
Lagging curves where like our predictions are, a week or two behind the result because everything we're doing is just like based on
totally
past performance. So I think that I think we're going to beat the curve and we're going to win. What did you said 3-1? I'll say 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah.
I really thought you were going to predict 1-0 there just for fun.
No, I
just for the point.
I stand by it. Okay, so now I heard you guys. You smell blood in the water. Everybody wants to just drag me across the coals on this. I'll repeat what I've said many times, and I went back and listened
in a different
to it.
way.
No. I have not. I've not. Never. No.
I will repeat it with different words.
No, what I said was, and I know you guys sent out the clip on Twitter.
Who did that?
Sent to me. I don't know. It wasn't me, but
it was the intern.
I said if the crew wins 1-0 this season, you'll see me in green or something like that. And you know what? If you guys, you can take a vote. There's 4 of you, so if you can find a consensus and say like this is the one, you were wrong. I'll eat crow. Maybe instead of buying a jersey, because we've talked about.
Will you actually eat crow?
No,
that would be
I was
insane.
thinking like I could. I was going to offer up like if you did. I do want to.
How about a case of pie?
I do want to make. I want to make.
Don't you say that?
I want to make. I don't want to argue. I want to point out a few things, and then I'll just let you guys decide what you think is appropriate. But like, I will acknowledge that indeed the Columbus Crew did beat Indy 11 1-0. That said, and I was going to say an alternative, maybe like I would be willing to make a charitable donation to like a Columbus Crew affiliated charity or something like that in lieu of, giving Anthony Precourt money. And then I did in fact search clown shirt on Amazon.com to wear something in lieu. However, I just want to point out a few things. First and foremost, this was not, as Haas said, this was not a league play game, right? This was a tournament game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I admit that would be somewhat of a technicality, but if you look at the lineup and you look at the formation and the way that the game was played, it was completely different than the way that we've been playing the rest of the season. Tell me how many, we kind of touched on this with DeVille. How many goals does Farsi have this season?
Ooh, that's it. Are we being quizzed again?
What does that have to do with anything? You're
this
changing
year
the topic.
or this MLS regular season?
I just ponder that, and then if you guys come together and this is the shot that you want to take, you want to drag me across the coals. What you're saying is you don't believe that we'll get 1-0 for the rest of the season. That's what you're saying.
Oh, no.
If you make this one the one, if you make this one
audio
the one,
podcast,
you're
why are you
Mars has
so
a knife.
aggressive?
Yeah, he's very defensive.
you're telling me
Are somebody tailgating you?
you're
or
telling
something?
me that you don't believe that it'll happen again. So with that, I'll leave it up to you. You tell me what kind of shame I should endure for this transgression. I stand by my statement. I think that I think we're not going to see that result. So
Yeah, I'm not going to shame you for an Open Cup. I'm going to hold it for a regular.
that's what I'm talking about,
Columbus
Trey.
Crew
Same.
game.
Yeah, yeah,
Including
US
playoffs.
Yes.
Including playoffs.
yes. Agree.
Because
agree.
Yeah,
It would
might as
be
well
that
lay
much-
out the specifics now.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fourth time we're
You need to
talking
lay it
about it.
out so it cannot be
back
changed again.
I kind of thought we did lay out the specifics, but we're here again.
Okay, cool. That's what I was kind of saying already.
No, but I mean,
Tournaments do not count.
we were all
Playoffs do.
all mocking the game. Our predictions were like, it just isn't a real game. Like, so yeah, if you want that to be the technical loss, that's fine. But like,
Nah, it's got to be MLS regular season the way we play.
Or playoffs.
regular
Or playoffs.
I'm
or
glad.
playoffs.
I'm glad to have you on
Playoffs.
board. I'm glad that you see it my way, and I stand by it. So, all right, to be continued on my quest for queso.
Yeah, and I want to be very
And,
clear that I'm working on a shirt because I don't want to give Austin
the
any money.
podcast.
So I
Yeah.
brought it by Trey. I think I might have actually texted
There's-
Himmel about it, but we're going to.
You told me not to buy a jersey.
Yeah.
I don't know anything other than
which
that.
is,
so-
and I'll stand by that.
You don't
okay.
need
So
to
if you hear me typing in the background, it's because I'm putting this into a spreadsheet.
Of course you are.
With some asterisks.
Okay.
And I say if Crew wins one MLS game this season, including playoffs, 1-0, Mars will wear the shirt of shame.
Yeah. Okay.
Pre-court
So-
Yeah.
finish.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever.
No,
yeah.
what,
Whatever.
what is it?
Okay. All right. So we're gonna have an off week next week. We're gonna have a special episode. Tune in, and until then, I guess we'll see you all in Loudonville or wherever.
Loudon is the county where Leesburg is in Virginia.
Okay.
Boom. Nailed it.
And are we at home or away?
We're away.
We are in Virginia playing on their turf in like a 6,000 person capacity stadium.
What? I don't want to talk about this anymore.
We're gonna die.
Yeah, we'll see you all next week. It's gonna be hot. Go Crew. Thanks everyone for joining the club. We hope you'll listen next week and every week, even in the off season, to celebrate or commiserate. We'll save you a seat. If you like this podcast, please give us 5 stars and subscribe. You can email us at upper90clubpod@gmail.com. That's upper90clubpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at upper90clubpod. Go Crew!
You're on mute. Ben, you're on mute.
Honestly, for the
I
best.
was like, that was like,
No, he said it, and I looked up, and I feel like no one was paying attention. He's like,
No, I was looking away to
Yeah, I
try
didn't hear
not
it.
to react.
yeah, I was just like,
I'm looking at his eyes, and I'm like, I can't continue.